How are you perceived versus the real you? Hi guys, you are here for another timeless pick a card reading with Tarot by Cassy. We have got 4 piles today and we are asking how are you perceived versus the real you. I have shuffled the deck and pulled out these 4 randomly, but I can already tell by looking at them that this is going to be a blunt AF reading. So just a little side note, my readings are never meant to trigger or hurt you. If you are really struggling with the message that you are listening to, then please just go out of it. Treat yourself kindly. Go and find a reading that is nicer, sweeter, kinder. There's plenty of them, and listen to that instead. But if you feel like you are hearing a truth that maybe you don't want to hear, but you do need to know, then please stick around. Timestamps for the piles are in the description and in the comments. So if you already know what you want to choose, please jump ahead, or you can pause the video to meditate on the cards so that you can decide which one feels right for you. You can pick more than one pile. As I mentioned, it is timeless, so whenever it reaches you, there could be a message in here for you, but also remember it is general. So please take what resonates, leave what doesn't for someone who needs it. And now let's get stuck in. We have pile number 1, the 3 of Wands, and I have paired that today with a little pumpkin pie. These gorgeous clay inclusions made for me by my beautiful daughter. Pile number 2, 8 of Swords. And that's been paired with the little pizza slice. Pile number 3, Judgment. And that's here with the little cookie with the bite taken out of it, chocolate chip cookie. And pile number 4, the 5 of Swords. And that has the little piece of cream cheese and blueberry toast paired with it. So guys, as I said, you can choose more than one. If it does trigger you, then make the decision as to whether or not you want to stay and hear some hard truths, or otherwise just find something that might be a bit more kinder and give you some self-love. And I will see you in your pile. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 1. If you chose the 3 of Wands and or the little pumpkin pie, then you are my pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. And I didn't mention it in the intro, but what they think of you, how are you perceived, I mean to say, is how are you perceived by whoever it is that you are thinking of at this point in time. So it could be family members, it could be work colleagues, it could be your partner, it could be your partner's friends, it could be anybody that you are actually thinking of. It could just be the general public. So whoever is in your mind as you are watching this reading, that is who we are asking about. And off the bat, with the 3 of Wands, progress, expansion, foresight, travel, overseas opportunities, long-term success, and slow and steady. So I think that you are perceived as someone who is very ambitious, but also someone who is very reliable, someone who is known not to rush into things, but who will get the job done. You are seen as being someone who has a lot of foresight and vision, and possibly you do travel a lot. Possibly your socials are full of photographs of you in all sorts of different places, and that could be with work, or that could also just be in your leisure time. Maybe it's both, but you are seen as someone who, even if you don't travel in the physical sense, you are someone who is very broad-minded, someone who is very world-wise. People see you as being someone who has a lot of opportunities and a lot going for them. And they see you as being someone who is very progressive, someone who is very forward-moving. So it might seem to people like you are extremely ambitious and you go for what you want, that you are open to new opportunities and to seeing where life takes you, but you are also very sensible about the paths that you take there. You don't jump into anything without first thinking it through and making sure that it is in your highest interests and good. So people see you as being very, very dependable. You possibly could be seen as someone who is very routine in the way that you live your life. So hold down a job, go to work every day, save faithfully, work towards goals and meet them at a steady pace, but continue to set yourself new goals and continue to meet those goals that you have set for yourself. So maybe you have risen through the ranks in the organization that you work for, or you have created a career for yourself in something and you have progressed along from entry level up to wherever you are at now and are still thinking of progressing further. But people see you as being very ambitious, very reliable, very sensible, and someone who is very world-wise and smart. So we're going to get some more cards from my deck, the Tarot by Cassy deck, and I didn't say that in the intro either, but the decks are listed in the description if you happen to like the look of any of them. So asking Spirit, how are you perceived? At the moment we're asking how you're perceived. We're also going to be asking who the real you is. But for the moment, we are asking how are you perceived? How do people see my beautiful pile number 1? Okay, so the Devil, interesting. Addiction, struggle, secrecy, dependence, desires, powerless, honesty, giving too much, and rest needed. Very interesting. So people could think that you are very, very dependable. But you might be a bit of a people pleaser, potentially, my pile number 1s, and people see that they can actually depend on you to the point that maybe that is not actually what you want and isn't what you had hoped for, and that's how people are perceiving you. We've also got the Four of Cups, contemplation, apathy, reevaluation, inaction, dissatisfaction, and refusing to see what's on offer. And the Knight of Cups, creativity, romance, charm, imagination, beauty, emotions, focus, ups and downs, and strength. So I definitely get that people think that you are a strong person, pile number 1, to the point that I think that maybe people actually depend on you a little too much and life could be a bit difficult at times for you. And what you don't show outwardly is that actually a lot of people do depend on you and see you as being so reliable that it feels as though they can ask you for just about anything and you will say yes to it. And that could be something that you have actually been struggling with because you aren't here to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's not your job to be there for absolutely everybody all of the time. But with this apathy over here with the Four of Cups in the traditional tarot, it's him ignoring the cup that is being offered to him. Whereas here we've got this almost double enlightenment, where I think that the way that people look at asking you for things can be with a bit of apathy. It's as though they don't really care how much they put onto your plate, because to them you are seen as being so dependable and so trustworthy, so reliable, so likely to come through for everybody, that people are just so used to actually asking you to do whatever it is that they need you to do, and they expect you to say yes. And that is something that you have been very, very tied to and are needing to move away from in order to be able to bring about this energy over here with the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups, again, in the traditional deck, is someone with something to offer, something to give. So pile number 1, I haven't read who you really are yet, but it feels to me like maybe you are really drained from the perception that people have of you. Maybe the perception they have of you is so ultra fantastic that you don't want to let anyone down and you don't want to let anything go, but it is actually costing you because people aren't really realizing your value, because you say yes so often, because you bend over backwards to please people, because you are always so quick to do the right thing by everybody else, and it's keeping you very stuck in a situation where you do need rest and you are giving up too much, and people need to just back off a bit and allow you some time to actually just focus in on yourself. This card with this deck feels very much like a self-love card, that she's providing all of these things for herself: creativity, romance, charm, imagination, beauty, emotions, focus, ups and downs, and strength. So you will definitely experience ups and downs, but maybe you have been relied upon so heavily that there has been less ups than downs. And maybe people do see photos of you traveling, going to cool places, doing awesome things, and so they don't think that there's anything wrong with actually asking you to do yet another favor or another thing for them or another task at work. and you are really quite ground down by it. And that could all be a little off balance. Maybe you really love doing things for people and you love helping people, but the problem is the way that people are perceiving you is that your value is less than what it really is because you are always there for everyone else. And I know that sounds very counterintuitive, but when people are people pleasers, when they say yes all the time, when there's never any hesitation to give help, no matter what the help is, how big the task, what the favor might be, people can then become expectant that you will always say yes. And then that they start to think that you don't have anything better to do than help them when they need it. And then they stop valuing your time. So in that respect, it's a wonderful thing to help people. It's a wonderful thing to give back and to do for others. But it can cost you if you're doing it to the extent that you are actually costing yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically. If you are so ground down, so overloaded, you might be the person that everybody adores at work because they know that they can give you the job and you will go out of your way to get it done. But that could be actually costing you not only in your own physical self, in terms of needing rest and needing to slow down and needing to spend more time just allowing self-love, allowing rest, allowing time for things to come in that are outside of whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's work-related, it's in your leisure time, or it is both when it comes to helping other people. It might be time for you to take a bit of a break from that so that people start to actually look at you and value your time differently and realize that you are dependable, you are reliable, but you're also not available to be the helpline for everybody who feels that they need to call on you for help whenever they need to do it. So that's what we're getting so far, pile number one. But I'm going to grab some cards from the Waite tarot deck to see if we can clarify some more. So that came shooting out. The sun. Yeah, I feel like you're everything to everybody. Pile number one. That one flipped right out. And that's what the sun is. The sun literally lights up the sky. We can't live without it. As soon as the sun were to disappear, we would all be finished very soon afterwards. So people love your energy. People love who you are. They love what you bring to the table. You are definitely seen as being someone who is very, very strong, and also someone who does have a great imagination, someone who has a lot of energy, someone who is very focused but is also a lot of fun. But I do feel that people don't actually see where you might be ground down by being the life of the party and everything to everyone, pile number one. So Spirit, some more cards to clarify. How is my beautiful pile number one perceived? I feel like you are seen as the giver of everything. You're the person who gets the job done. You're the one who makes people smile. Very much so with the Nine of Pentacles as well, the bougie lady card. You are seen as someone who is really in control of their own situation, has built something really quite profound for themselves and is doing really well for themselves, but also she is on her own. And that's something that is one of the meanings traditionally of this card, is the fact that she has everything she wants, but she is solo. And depending on which deck of cards it is, that can be seen as something sad, or it can be seen as that she just doesn't really need anybody else and she's doing just fine on her own, which I think you are, pile number one. But I think people definitely perceive you as not needing any help. And that's where I feel like the apathy comes through, as in maybe you are out here helping people far more than what people are out here helping you. And you are that person that always says yes, who brings the creativity to the situation, who brings the life to the party, who is really solid and reliable, and who is self-sustaining, so people perceive you as not needing help, as not needing someone in your corner, as being the one to go to rather than the one to check on. So I want to get maybe one or two more, please, Spirit, to ask how is my pile number one perceived by people. Yeah, I think people perceive you as being really strong. And if you're someone like me, I'm neurodivergent, I mask a lot. I love for people to think that I'm solid and dependable and reliable. That's all a big part of my mask. Obviously, if someone needs something from me, I follow through with it. So I am dependable and reliable. But I had to learn how to say no where I need to. Thank you very much, Spirit. That was perfect. Because I was a people pleaser and I was burnt out, and people definitely saw me as being all of the things that we have here. But it was definitely to the point that they couldn't care less about my time and how much of it they were taking from me, how much of my energy was being depleted, or even just to check in and find out if I was okay, even when something was really, really bad and they were aware that it was bad. I wasn't always getting calls from the people that I had helped so much to find out where I was at and if I needed anything. So I'm feeling like that is the case over here. Pile number 1. Yeah, hardworking. Again, this card is all about hard work and building something, creating a legacy, working, doing these repetitive tasks over and over, but to get the job done. So people definitely think that you're extremely hardworking, and they do think that you're reliable. And the 6 of Cups. I feel like there's also people that have a lot of nostalgia around you. So this feels like it could either be you've worked somewhere for so long that it feels like a family, in as much as even if you don't feel like you're like family members, like super tight and close or whatever, it feels like you spend so much time together, probably more than you even do with your own family. Or it is actually your family, but there's like a lot of nostalgia here. So people look back on you and the things you've done very fondly. I think people have a lot of respect for you. They have a lot of love for you. But I just think that maybe people don't know how much it actually takes from you to be the person that is always responsible, the person that is always saying yes to things, the person that is always up to take on the task, who will work the later hours, who will continue on long after everybody else has finished a job to try to make sure that it gets finished. And I think that that makes people look at you in the way of saying, well, my pile number 1s, they're amazing because they always get the job done. I know that no matter what I ask of them, they will always get the job done for me. And that's fantastic. But if it's grinding you down, if it's keeping you feeling as though you are powerless or people are dependent on you, and that is starting to create some sort of negative feelings within you, well, then it could be time for you to speak up for yourself, pile number 1, and let people know that actually that isn't going to be easy for me to do. I might have to pass on that offer, or I might have to say no to you in this situation. I'm not able to do this for you. So pile number 1, you are definitely perceived in a really positive light. The question is it a positive for you that you are seen as the person who can always be called upon no matter what to come in and help? Because maybe you don't want to be that person forever. So that is where we're at with how you are perceived. Let's get some cards from the Lumina Tarot deck to ask, who are you really? So pile number 1, please, Spirit. Who is the real pile number 1? Beautiful. Strength right off the bat here. So definitely you are not perceived in the wrong way. You are very strong. I do think that you are someone who does help people out a hell of a lot. Judgment. Yep, you're very wise, you're very focused, you're very fair, and you're very balanced. But you are a very, very strong person, my pile number 1. People aren't wrong in thinking that they can rely on you and that you will get the job done. The Chariot, yeah, like a driving force. Moving forward. And again, with more balance on this card, I'm noticing with the triple moon. And I have no idea what this little symbol is at the top of the moon, but that to me looks extremely harmoniously balanced. And so I do think that people think, I do think that you are actually a very balanced person. I think that you are very wise, you're very fair, but maybe sometimes you can be a bit too wise and fair for your own good. And maybe that's not resonating at all. Maybe you don't feel tied to people and you don't feel burnt out or dragged down or in any way negative about having so many people looking at you as being dependable and depending on you. Maybe you feel that that's exactly who you want to be and that's exactly what you have been working towards, in which case you can obviously disregard any messages in terms of giving too much. And very interesting though, doubling up the Four of Cups. So we do have the Four of Cups in how people see you, and we also have the Four of Cups over here in who you really are. So I'm going to grab the book for that one and just see if there is anything, or what, not if there's anything, if I want to see what their meaning is for the Four of Cups. So upright, the power is in your hands. From the outside looking in, the world would see you and your life as somewhat perfect. Okay, so we've really spoken about that over here. Full of pleasure, success, and full of pleasure, success, and fulfillment in all areas, maybe even excessively so. So as I said, there might be, you've got photos on your social media of you going to some sort of exciting work events, or traveling to a new place, being in a new country, showing off a new hotel room, just looking really good, really showing up for whatever it is that you're doing, and it seems fun and it seems exciting, and you seem like the bougie Nine of Pentacles lady who has everything together and everything she wants, and you are absolutely glowing, and people just see that there's sun shining out of your life in every direction. But maybe that is, yes, this, wow, okay, this card has just backed up all of the things that I said when I was reading the first lot of cards. So, and yet, within your skin and bones, you feel a deep discontent. Perhaps you have worked hard, only to feel entrapped by your creations. Or maybe you are regretting not taking another path. Now is the time to dive deep within your inner world to understand your desires so you can make powerful choices about your life. The Four of Cups comes as a message that decisions are to be made. As the designer and creator of your life, they are to be made by you only. Haha, yes, again, without this dependence, without feeling tied to anyone, without feeling as though you need to make a decision based on what's best for someone else or even for everyone else, but making a decision on what it is that you need to bring this energy in, so that you're not just seen to be in this energy, you actually are experiencing this energy. You are feeling time to be creative. You're feeling time to notice the beauty in life, to be able to focus on yourself and projects that make you happy. Create space to take stock. Ensure that you are not taking your life for granted, for this card may show that you have become hollow in your hunger for happiness, which only ever results in ingratitude and disappointment. And that really makes me feel like people pleasing, my beautiful pile number one. I feel that when people are, yes, people pleasers, they're doing it for some sort of gratification, to feel good because you know you made somebody happy, you've made someone's life easier, you have taken care of something for someone, or you have taken care of someone. And that can eventually start to feel really hollow, especially if it is being taken advantage of and people are really not giving the same back to you. There's no reciprocity there, or there's very little reciprocity. That can become very old very quick, and that can really burn you out. The power is in your hands. Fill yourself up spiritually. Open your eyes and really see the bounty that surrounds you. Decide what it is that you are truly desiring and step towards it. Okay, so I love that. So I do think that there will be people that this will be resonating with, that people perceive you as the person to go to for everything, and who you really are is someone who is getting a little bit tired of being that person for everyone, and possibly you even feel a bit like that people are being apathetic towards you. That might even be why you're in this reading, because you're wondering, obviously, how you're perceived, how people see you. Maybe you do feel taken for granted and you don't feel like you're really being seen. Maybe whenever you try to mention that things are a bit difficult to someone, they turn around and say, oh yeah, sure, I've just saw your photo of you in a lovely hotel, or staying at this beautiful place, or doing this really awesome thing. And so it doesn't feel like you can be honest and open with others about the difficulties that you're experiencing, because people just see your life as being all sunshine and lollipops, and you being really strong, really able to deal with it, and just always there for everyone. And so therefore they don't take on board the difficulties that you may have. As I said, maybe you don't get checked in on. Maybe people don't call you to ask how you're doing. They only call to let you know what it is that they're needing. or that when they ask how you are, they're always expecting you to say good. And that's because in reality, you are a really strong person, pile number one. So you probably do always just say good. And you are very fair. You are very intelligent in the things that you decide, in the way that you think. You are very, very driven. That is something that I am definitely picking up. You are an extremely driven person. But at this point, you need to be asking yourself, at what cost? What goals are you going after? And are those goals things that will benefit you, and not just benefit you in a work sense, but in a sense of fulfillment, in a sense of being in touch with who you are, being able to take time out, being able to connect with what it is that you want and what you're feeling and what you would like to experience, pile number one. So now we're going to get some last messages about who you really are from the Nova Witch Tarot. Asking Spirit, who are my pile number ones? Who are they really? So I think you are exactly as you are perceived, but maybe you are just tired of it, and maybe you don't even know that that's what's been bothering you, and that's the message that you need to hear, is it's time for you to take a step back and let other people do more for themselves. We've got the Girl of Coins. So that's the Page of Coins in the traditional deck, and that is someone who has a message to give to someone. It's someone who's very studious as well, someone who is a lifelong learner. So it could be that you never stop learning, pile number one, and I think that people's idea of you as being ambitious is definitely the reality of the situation. I think you are extremely driven and you do love to learn, and that could be a big part of why you say yes to being there for others so often as well. Very interesting, double devil. So the devil in the perception of you as well as the devil in who you really are. So I do feel that you are a bit chained to helping others, pile number one. I do feel like who you really are is someone who gives and gives and gives of themselves, and who needs to release themselves from this giving without any abandon, because you need to start taking some of your power back and some of your time back for yourself and for what you need. And maybe that is, people see you as being slow and steady, when in actual fact you're not slow at all. Maybe you're just being really held back from going after what you want because you're so busy helping other people get to where they want to be. So I just want a couple more, please, Spirit, for pile number one. Who are they really? 10 of Coins. So you're definitely someone who is building something for yourselves, pile number one. Helping others isn't stopping you from creating your own abundance and your own security. You are someone who is very steadfast, very reliable, who is building something for themselves, but maybe you are doing it at a slower rate than you otherwise would be, because you are someone who is bending over backwards to help everybody else that comes to them. I just want, there we go, beautiful. One more. Thank you, Spirit. And the Six of Wands. Publicly victorious. Public recognition, credit where it is due. So I feel that you are someone who is able to be successful. You are someone who is able to, how can I say, you're not someone to shy away from the limelight if it were to come in your direction, but I feel that you don't do a lot to bring the spotlight onto you. I feel that you are the backbone of a lot of situations. You are the backbone for a lot of people, and you are not simply seen as being someone who is always there. You are someone who is always there. You are someone who is recognized as being successful, as being dependable, as being reliable, but it might be costing you more than what you are able to keep giving if you allow for people to keep thinking that you are the one that they can turn to no matter what, that you will always be the life of the party, that you will always be the one to jump in and get the job done, that you are actually able to say no and reprioritize your time. So you can still definitely help people. You can still definitely put in 110% at work and get the job done, but there does need to be times when you need to pull back and you need to focus on what you want my pile number ones, and what you need, and also to be able to ask others for help as well. If that's something that you don't do, you tend to offer the help, but you never ever ask for it. It's time for you to start asking for help so that you can create what you want and get to where you want to be faster. And you could also be learning from others when you are getting help from them, as well as actually getting some assistance. So pile number one, I feel that people really see you as a true giver. I think they think that you really have this life down pat, that you are very lucky, very successful, very blessed, wonderful to be around, but maybe they don't see the toll that point of view, that perspective actually takes on you, because sometimes you do just need to say no. So pile number one, if that resonated, please hit the like button. Comment if you want to let me know how it did resonate for you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much if you have. And if you've even just watched the video, I really, really appreciate that more than anything else. Pile number one, I might see you in another pile, or I might see you in another reading. Hello there, my pile number two. If you chose the Eight of Swords or this little piece of pizza, then you are my pile number two. Welcome to your reading. So this is one of the harsher ones when I go from the first card, Eight of Swords, negative thoughts, self-imposed restriction, feeling trapped, patience, action, and release yourself. So we're going to get some more cards from my deck, the Trust Yourself Tarot, to clarify exactly what this card means when it comes to how you are perceived, pile number two. But it could potentially be, this is the harsher side of the coin, that you are perceived as being someone who can be a little bit of a victim, someone who keeps themselves trapped in a situation that they needn't be in, for whatever reasons that people think that you do. And again, this is how people perceive you. This is not necessarily, it's not who you really are. We're going to ask that secondarily to asking how are you perceived. But how you could be perceived is someone who maybe is in some sort of situation that they could get themselves out of. So maybe you're someone who is in like a really shitty job, for example, and you can't help but complain about it to other people, and other people think, well, why don't you just look for a new job? Or you could be in a relationship that's no good, and people could be just saying, well, why don't they just leave? That is a whole other kettle of fish depending on what sort of relationship you are in. So certainly if you are in any sort of abusive relationship, I think basically as long as anyone's in any sort of relationship, no one should say, why don't they just leave? Because there are a multitude of reasons why people don't leave. If it's abusive, it can be the most dangerous time of the whole relationship. If it's just an unhappy relationship, it could be because you are worried for that person and what would happen for them if you left. Or it could be that financially, and especially in our current economic climate, it can be really financially impossible to leave. So it could be that you have some really good reasons for why you're staying in the situation that you're in, but it could be that people perceive you as being a bit of a victim because you aren't happy and you don't seem to be releasing yourself from it. Conversely, we do also have patience, action, and releasing yourself. So it could be that people also perceive you as being someone who is very patient and who is waiting for the right moment to come along to be able to act on something that has been difficult for you, and a place that you have been in that you feel that you can't get yourself out of, pile number two. So if you're still with me, because that was some home truths, but it could also be the opposite side of the coin. I need to get some more cards here. Here we go. Yeah, to clarify. And we have the Queen of Wands. That's beautiful. Courage, confidence, charisma, independence, joyous, leader, warmth, inspiration, and determination. Okay, so I do feel that people see you as being stuck in some sort of situation at this point in time. Pile number two, they do perceive you as being stuck, but not for long. I feel that people perceive you as someone who, if you are somewhere that you are not happy to be, you will actually grab the bull by the horns and turn it around. But you have a lot of patience when it comes to putting up with the negative. You are someone who absolutely has the determination to be able to go after something new, but you have the patience to wait until the right moment comes to be able to do that for yourself. Also here with justice, fairness, truth, cause and effect, law, balance, kindness, integrity, accountability, and rest. Yeah, so cause and effect. I think you are perceived as someone who realizes you're not someone who's going to go and shake up the hen house because you are not happy with where you're at. You're going to slowly, quietly, determinedly chip away at it until it becomes a situation that is either better as it stands, or you have gotten yourself into something new. And especially here, finished up with the world: completion, integration, accomplishment, travel, fulfillment, enlightenment, happiness, and success. So, guys, what I said at the very beginning, I don't know if that would have resonated with anybody or not. It could be a message that somebody needed to hear, but I don't think that people do perceive you as being a victim. I think people possibly, or it even could be that they perceive you as being a victim, but not that you are playing the victim, that you are actually the victim. Maybe you are stuck in a situation right now that is just bullshit and unfair, and you shouldn't be there in that situation. Maybe this could be a work reading, potentially, and other people can see that maybe something has been going on that really is just wrong. It's not fair. It's not the way that things should be, and they are seeing that you are restoring balance to the situation for yourself. They perceive you as being someone who is able to turn this situation around and get themselves out of it. But right now they can also see that you are stuck, even if it's that you're keeping yourself there because you are trying to work out a bigger plan. You are trying to work out something that is going to actually create balance, and you are doing what you're doing with integrity and fairness and kindness. You are, so maybe like, for example, you could be getting bullied at work, and maybe you could really turn the tables on someone and release some information that you have about them, for example, that would make them look really bad, but that's not something you're going to do because you have a lot of integrity. So you are keeping that information to yourself while you work on a plan of inspired action to change the situation for yourself. Maybe instead of taking on what this person is saying, you're busily at home working on your resume and writing up cover letters and applying to new jobs, but you're putting up with what you're putting up with for now because that's what needs to happen, and that's not what people necessarily see. So I get the feeling, pile number 2, I didn't mention it in the intro, I did in the first pile. Whoever it is that you're asking about is obviously the people that are perceiving you. So if I haven't lost you already, because I forgot to mention that at the start, it could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your partner, it could be your work colleagues, it could be your partner's mates, it could be anybody that you are thinking about, whoever it is that comes to your mind in asking this question. But I feel that it is people that are close to you because they can see that while you are potentially a victim of a situation, you are not someone who is going to stay stuck in this situation till the end of all time. You are someone who is going to make a break and make a change and go after better for yourself, but you will do it when you're ready to do it. You will show a lot of patience in the timing that you will take to make these decisions and make these changes. So now to get some more clarification on how you are perceived, pile number 2, we're asking the Rider-Waite Tarot, how is my pile number 2 perceived? Interesting, the Tower. Yeah, so I think that people feel that, I think how you're perceived is someone who has had a rough trot, pile number 2. I think how you are perceived is someone who has not always had life just hand them everything, and that you have struggled, and that you maybe aren't in the best place right now, but you are working really hard to move out of it. And the 5 of Coins, so being shut out. So this really, yeah, I really feel like how you are perceived as someone who is doing it pretty tough right now, pile number 2. And maybe it's that you have always done it tough, but you are perceived as someone who is able to still bring things to completion, still able to bring the world into the balance that they want, into what they want it to be, but you need time. And I think you're definitely, there's always one pile in all of my readings, the one that is the pile that gets knocked down but always gets back up. That's how I think you are perceived, pile number 2. Even when you are shut out in the cold, it's as though you have nothing left, and you are without allies or any sort of help. You are perceived as someone who will still get back on their feet, someone who will still rise up and come back from the dead, so to speak. We don't have any cards that are saying that necessarily, even though there are some in the tarot, but that you are someone who is able to rise up out of a negative situation and start rebuilding on a more firm, more solid foundation. I just want a couple more, please, Spirit, for how my pile number 2 is perceived. Very beautiful. Okay, they backflipped, so we're definitely taking them. The Empress, absolutely love it. And the Page of Pentacles. So that absolutely bookends what I have just said. I do think that you are someone who is perceived as having to come up through life the hard way. You haven't had things handed to you. Things have not come easily. You have probably been knocked down over and over again, but you are seen as being fertile, abundant, prosperous, beautiful, both of, I think, physically beautiful. I actually think that I was thinking about this earlier, actually, when I was thinking about this reading, weirdly enough, and the Empress came into my mind, and I associated her with beauty, both physical and internal, spiritual, emotional. So it's very interesting that it actually did come out and in this particular reading. So I do think that you are perceived as being very, very beautiful. You may not see yourself that way at all, pile number 2, but you are perceived by others as being very beautiful, both on the inside and outside. And you are also perceived as being someone who is always learning, someone who, even if you only have 1 pentacle here, you will turn this into more pentacles, but you are learning, you are growing. With every negative thing that challenges you in this life, you turn it into an opportunity to learn and to grow and to become more than what you were before this thing occurred. So pile number 2, I definitely think that you are perceived to be a fighter. You are perceived to be very strong. I believe that you are, as I said, maybe perceived as being a victim of circumstances and things that have happened to you, but you are not perceived in any way as acting the victim. You are seen as very strong, someone who is able to bring about abundance for themselves, even after being shut out in the cold and losing everything in these big tower moments. You are someone who is seen as always getting back on their feet, finding ways to learn, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, so that when you do finally get around to changing the situation, and when I say that, it sounds like you're just sitting around doing nothing and you're not attempting to change the situation. I said that badly. Not when you finally get around to it, because I feel that you are always working on it in the background, even if that's not evident to everybody in the processes that it occurs in. People do know that you won't stay stuck in a situation that doesn't serve you forever. You might not move out of it as fast as what some people would like for you to, but you definitely always move out of it. And people perceive you as being someone who is always learning through this life, someone who's always learning from their mistakes, from their successes, and is able to capitalize on their situations and what they have learned in order to be able to turn it around and accomplish great things and bring things to completion. So pile number 2, I think that that is very much how you are perceived. Now we're going to ask the Lumina Tarot who you really are. So how are you perceived versus the real you? Who is the real you? Pile number 2. And I do feel that that is the real you, in as much as you are someone who is able to take a tower moment and turn it into something good for themselves. 6 of Swords, beautiful. Yeah, moving away from negative situations. You are someone, pile number 2, who will move away from the negative and get themselves to a better place, who is not sticking around to be taking crap from people. But it may not always be obvious to others, because you move slowly and carefully and with a lot of forethought and a lot of foresight and a lot of truth and integrity, which means that you may have to take the slower path to get to where you need to be, but you will do that. We also have the Devil. So being tied to things that don't serve you. And we have that here with the Fool, taking a leap into the unknown, into new adventures, into new things. So I feel that again, you may be slow in moving through certain situations that aren't in your best and highest order, things that are holding you back. So you do stay stuck to some things for longer than what other people think that you should. But that's because you know that you are going to step foot into new adventures and new things, and that they are coming in for you. But you will allow for that to happen when the time is ready. Yeah, and the Eight of Cups coming to the point that you are comfortable with walking away from something. So the Five of Cups is very much still not ready to let go. The Eight of Cups is being done with it and knowing that there are better things for you in the future, that you don't need to stay where you're at, because as sad as it is to let whatever these cups had in them go, you have better things waiting for you on the other side of this bridge. So there might be, with here, the actual gap in the bridge here, it might take you longer to walk away from this situation than what other people think that you should, but that's because you're aware that this is not that straightforward. You've got to be able to cross these beams. You've got to be able to get across this gap. There is a pathway out and you can see it and you're aware of it, but you know that there are obstacles and challenges along the way. So you are someone who is very clear on the path that they are taking, but you take your time to work out exactly how you're going to walk that path and how you are going to step into your next adventure, into your next into the next light at the end of whatever tunnel it is that you are potentially stuck in, pile number 2. So maybe right now you are stuck in a situation that's really rubbish, but you are working on getting yourself out of it, and it seems to others that you are tied to this situation, and it may even feel very much to you that you are tied to the situation, but you know that you can rebuild this. You know that you can take a different path. You know that you can change the circumstances, but you need to do it in your own time. But you are someone who is able to walk away from negative things, pile number 2. You are not someone who will keep yourself stuck forever. You are very aware that there are better options available for you, and you will be taking them when you know that the time is right. So now we're going to get some final messages for you about who you really are from the Nova Witch Tarot. So who is the real pile number 2? Please, Spirit. 5 of Coins. So we have that twice. Here with the 5 of Pentacles over here and the 5 of Coins here. So again, and she's got this little broken heart on her necklace. I feel who you really are is very similar to how you are perceived. Pile number 2, you are someone who has had a really hard time and has been shut out of things, has been unfairly dismissed before. Maybe for some reason you have lost something. Maybe you have been bullied out of a job or managed out of a position by someone who really didn't like you. Maybe this is a family reading and you feel that you have been pushed out of your family. Maybe you have been pushed out of a living arrangement. It feels that you have been locked out of things in your life, pile number 2, and that it hasn't been fair and it hasn't been kind at all times, but you have remained optimistic even when it feels like all hope is lost and you are feeling like you're being dragged down and you are tied to things that aren't in your best interest. You are extremely determined to work it out, and you have a lot of hope too, pile number 2. I feel like who you really are is someone who does have a lot of hope, and that is very, very commendable, because it is very difficult to continue having hope when things just aren't going right over and over. But pile number 2, I feel that you are someone who is extremely strong and really hopeful, and I love that I've pulled this right as I'm talking about that, the wish card, 17, the star. So oftentimes people will say make a wish when they see this card come out. So now might be time for you to make a wish for something more positive for yourself in the future, but it's also the wish come true card. So I feel like who you really are is someone who creates beauty wherever they go, who turns negative things into positive things, who walks away from darkness, untangles themselves from things that don't serve them, moves away from things, situations that aren't doing them good, finds their path, works their way through difficulties and challenges to get to where they're going, and makes their wishes come true. You work really hard, pile number 2, to turn things around for yourself. And 7 of Wands, very interesting. That one I'm going to read. Let me just get the book for that one. So the Nova Witch Tarot, 7 of Wands. Beautiful, perfect. Determination, effort, tenacity. The 7 of Wands wants you to embrace your stubborn side. You have to go after what you want. No one is going to do it for you. And in fact, people may try to distract you or tell you to focus on other things. In these situations, stand firm. When you pull this card, you can be confident about your chosen project, give attention to your passion, and tune out distractions. Yeah, and I feel like that speaks to this card over here, where, as I said, people might say, well, why don't they leave that job? Why don't they just find a new job? Or why don't they leave that partner? Why don't they just cut their family off? Why don't they just move house? You aren't someone who will get caught up in the opinions of others in terms of what it is that you should and shouldn't be doing. You move with patience. You know how to release yourself. You know what you need to do in order to do what is in the highest good for you and for the situation. And you aren't someone to burn bridges either. That's what I'm getting, pile number 2. You will leave a situation kindly, with integrity, with your head held high, and without putting anybody down or dragging anyone else down with you. So you do not burn the bridge. The bridge may have a dire need of repair. It may have boards missing. It may have separation between you and the situation that you're leaving, but it's not burnt. You don't go burning bridges, but you also aren't someone to take on the advice of every other person when it comes to making choices for yourself. That was unfortunate. Guys, you get the first on the floor shuffle. That has frustrated the daylights out of me. But yeah, you are someone who is able to move with a lot of... There we go. I'm going to take that one. That's on the floor, but that floated on down. The others I just threw everywhere because that's how I read. Gorgeous. The Queen of Coins. Yeah. Pile number 2, you are someone who is able to create abundance for yourself. You are able to create prosperity. You have not had it easy. You have been stuck in some really rotten situations and may even be stuck in one right now. But how you are perceived, particularly by those who are closest to you and know you well, is that you will move yourself out of this situation, and you will do it in your own way, in your own time, and for your best benefit. So I feel that people, whilst they can see that you've had it tough, you might be doing it a bit rough, they still see you as being abundant, fertile, able to bring in prosperity, creating beautiful things for yourself, learning as you go, and then being able to master and conquer their kingdom, to be very balanced, very fair, very generous, very kind. But it might take you some time to get from where you are currently to where you need to be. But people still see you, even whilst you're doing it tough, as someone who is extremely strong, who will not stay locked out in the cold forever, who will not be held down and tied to things that don't serve them, who will build their tower back up from a really solid foundation. So no more rickety bridge. You will be moving into better things. You can make your wishes come true. You are focused and dedicated and determined, and you are able to bring about harmony for yourself. So pile number 2, I really hope that resonated. If it did, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much if you have, even just for viewing. I really, really appreciate it. Comment if you want to let me know how it did resonate. I might see you in another pile, or I might see you in another reading. Hello there, my pile number 3. If you chose the Judgment card and or the choc chip cookie with a little bite taken out of it, then you are my pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. So I didn't mention it in the intro, but whoever you are asking about is whoever the part of the question, how are you perceived, is relating to. So how are you perceived by your family, by your friends, by your work colleagues, by the general public, by your partner, by your partner's friends, whoever it is that you're actually asking about. Could be about everybody, or it could be a certain person, or it could be a certain group of people. So whoever it is that you are thinking about, pile number 3, that is who we are asking about. But kicking off with this first card, Judgment, rebirth, inner calling, absolution, forgiveness, transition, intuition, and moving on. So I feel that you are very much perceived as someone who is quite in touch with their spiritual side. I feel that you are perceived as being very calm, someone who thinks things through, someone who, while we do have judgment, I feel that you are perceived as someone who is very non-judgmental and who is able to give a lot of open-minded guidance to people who need it. I feel that you're the person that people come to when they have something that they want to get off their chest, but they don't want to be judged for what it is that they have done. They want someone who they know will be very open-minded and very non-judgmental. And we also have forgiveness as well. So I feel like people open up to you, pile number 3, and that you are perceived as being someone who can be opened up to. And I also feel that you are perceived as being someone who is in control of their life and their journey and their path. Maybe you are very openly spiritual, and or religious. Maybe you are just very open-minded in your way of thinking and very progressive in your thoughts and opinions. We're going to get some more cards now from my deck, the Trust Yourself Tarot, to ask Spirit, how is my pile 3 perceived? Okay. Beautiful. The 10 of Pentacles. Wealth, financial security, family, long-term success, retirement, contribution, and relationships. So yeah, I think that you are perceived as being someone who is very stable, someone who is very reliable, someone who is very abundant and prosperous. I think people perceive you as doing really well for yourself, pile number 3. Okay, we've got the last 2 here that jumped out. Oh, no, you guys get 3. Temperance, balance, comfort, control, harmony, self-control, moderation, patience, purpose, and courage. Yeah, very reliable, very sturdy, very steady, very balanced. You are not seen to be someone who would go off half-cocked or go off the deep end. You don't have meltdowns, at least publicly. You are not a Karen. You are someone who, if you need to speak to the manager, you're able to do so in a way that people don't see you as being demanding or bossy. They just see you as someone who wants to get a problem sorted out. You have a lot of purpose. People see you as having a goal and working towards it. As I said, people see you as being very abundant, able to bring about wonderful things to yourself. These are gorgeous cards. Pile number 3, the 10 of Cups, divine love, blissful relationships, alignment, completion, support, rest, ending, and achievement. So it may be that you actually, if you are in a relationship and you have a family, you could be perceived as that family that is really flourishing, someone who is really amazing at parenting, is relationship goals when it comes to their partner. And again, all of these things could potentially not even be remotely true. We won't know until we do the second part of the reading, which is who are you really? But how you are perceived is someone who really has it all, and especially following it up with the Queen of Wands: courage, confidence, charisma, independence, joyous leader, warmth, inspiration, and determination. So we've got so many cards that focus on determination, achievement, self-control, wealth, relationships, transitions, moving on. So I feel that you are perceived as someone who doesn't hold on to grudges. You are someone who lives and lets live and very much lets things go. You are able to move in the moment, and you are perceived as being someone who really doesn't have any worries on their shoulders. You are perceived as someone who is across their shit. They know where they're going. They have this beautiful balance and harmony in their life. There might be a lot of people that really even envy you, pile number 3, because you are very much seen to be having it so together. Maybe you are perceived as having the perfect life. You have a great job. You have a wonderful partner. You have a beautiful family. You have a lovely home. You drive a really nice car. That is how you are perceived, pile number 3. So we're going to ask the Rider-Waite Tarot now for some more messages on how you are perceived. But yeah, people think that you have got it going on, pile number 3. They think that you are really across all aspects of your life, and the spiritual as well as the physical. So you're not only doing really well in the physical by other people's standards, you are also someone who is seen as having a lot of honesty, integrity, being really in touch with their spiritual side, being very nurturing, very loving, very kind, and very, very divinely connected. And we also have the Two of Wands. So you are seen as someone who has a lot of options, someone who could do pretty much whatever it is that they want in this life. You are definitely perceived as someone who has the world in their hands. The world is your oyster in the eyes of others, my beautiful pile number 3. And you are seen as being very balanced in the choices that you make as well. You have a lot of options, but you are very considered in which ones you take and which ones you let pass you by. But I think people think that you are very abundant when it comes to not only what you have, but what you are able to bring in for yourself. Yeah, Knight of Swords. You are seen as someone who goes after what they want. You don't just allow things to happen by chance. You are very, very determined. You show a lot of courage, even in the face of adversity. And you have very strong leadership qualities. People see you as a leader and a boss type person. I'm just continually moving these over because you got the extra card. I want to make sure these all fit. But pile number 3, you are perceived extremely positively across all aspects of life. People see you as being someone who is very, very determined to create the life that they want for themselves and to go after what they want. You are perceived as someone who has a lot of goals, who is very driven to work towards those goals. 8 of Cups. So someone who is able to walk away from what no longer serves them and do so easily. As I've mentioned in a couple of the other piles where the 8 of Cups has come up, the 5 of Cups is still not being able to let go of things, but the 8 of Cups is just his back is turned. He's done. He's no longer looking at those cups. He is looking at what is in the future for him. And so you are perceived as someone who won't hang around in a negative situation for long. You are able to cut your losses. You are not afraid of what will happen in the future if you don't take what's on offer now. And just one more, please, Spirit, even though it's going to annoy me because it won't fit in my lineup. I want one more card to ask how my pile number 3 is perceived. Okay, I don't need 3 cards. You know what? I feel like I do. That wants me to take all of them because they all line up. Queen of Wands. So we've got double Queen of Wands, courage, confidence, charisma, independence, joyous, leader, warmth, inspiration, and determination. The Knight of Cups, which is very interesting because that's going to line up with the Knight of Swords. So whilst you are very determined and very driven, very hardworking, a real go-getter, you also know when it's time to stand still. You know when it's time to hold your cup out and wait for something to be poured into it, or hold your cup out and wait for the opportunity to give it to someone. You are both driven, determined, and fast-moving, but you are also patient, cautious, well thought out, and we have the Emperor, the boss card. So that is perfect that that's come out. He is Aries, he is fire, he is authority. So you are perceived as someone who is not to be messed with. Pile number 3, I feel that it would be very rare that people would take you on in any sort of situation because you are seen as being a real authority across every aspect of your life. Now, whether or not that is the case and that is how you feel is now to be asked of the Lumina Tarot, who you really are or who the real you is. So, asking Spirit for pile number 3, who are the real pile number 3s? Who are they really? But you are so highly regarded. You are perceived in the highest possible order. Pile number 3. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people that are actually really quite envious of you. Some might even be really jealous. So we have the Fool. Someone who is very adventurous, very innocent, very loyal, ready to take a leap into the unknown, ready to do things differently, not frightened of new adventures, not afraid of change, ready and able to be adaptable and flexible and ready to go in different directions at any time. Beautiful. And the Magician. So pile number 3, you really are. You are someone who is able to create magic for yourself. I feel like this perception of you is really not far from the truth at all. I think that you absolutely are someone who creates opportunities for yourself, brings things into fruition. Maybe it doesn't always feel like it. Maybe you do actually bring in wonderful things to yourself so easily that it doesn't feel like any big deal and you don't recognize how hard you actually work to do it. And it's just your nature, your charisma, your magic, your confidence and warmth that actually brings these good things in. So it feels like it's no big deal to you. It's just this taking this step, this leap. It doesn't feel scary. So therefore what you do doesn't feel big, when in actual fact it really is. And we have the Two of Swords. So using your intuition, feeling your way through things. I do think that you are actually very in touch with the divine and your spiritual side, and that perception is not wrong. I feel that you are also not shy and not hiding that from people. So that's why you are perceived as being very spiritual and very connected. But you are someone who does listen to their intuition when making decisions. You are willing to be adaptable and flexible and step off into the unknown. But that's if your intuition tells you that went flying out, that the unknown is going to be something that will be wonderful for you. The Hanged Man, I love this. So you are someone who is willing to sacrifice. You are willing to put things on hold for a time in order to bring about a better outcome for yourself and for others. And you are also able to look at things from a different perspective. So again, with people perceiving you as being very non-judgmental and very progressive in your way of thinking, I feel that people are right. They definitely have gotten that correct with you. You are someone, I just want one more, someone who is able to look at situations from different points of view. And I feel like that really is why you are so balanced and so across things, because you see the grey. Everything isn't just black and white to you. Pile number 3, I think that you are someone who is able to read between the lines, able to see opportunities where maybe others don't. And the 5 of Swords. So I'll read this one. I know that in the traditional deck it can be about being a bit sneaky and getting away with something, I think, from memory. Let's see if it's any different in this deck. Come on, 5. Everything but 5. Literally everything but 5. Here we go. 5 of Swords. Winner or loser. A card of disillusionment or mistrust. There is conflict, maybe a situational struggle, or emotional or mental discord. You may find yourself disagreeing with others, feeling tension, and generally being hostile towards the world. This may stem from patterns of low thought or due to others losing faith in you. While your ambitious nature may have achieved what you wanted, it has potentially come at the expense of others. This will never feel like a win, and you are now dealing with the aftermath. Take a step back and reconnect with your core values. What is really important to you? Are you willing to alienate yourself and hurt others for the sake of winning? The 5 of Swords also means that a trusted person is undermining or betraying you. So that might just, what I'm taking from this. I've mentioned people being envious or possibly even being jealous. That might just be a little message to some of you to just keep an eye on what you have built, what you have created, and who you are keeping close to you, so that you don't actually have someone who is close to you and in your inner circle who would betray you because of jealousy of what you have created for yourself. This card can simply mean defeat. You have given your best efforts and not succeeded. Winning does not always mean success. You may not have achieved what you set out to achieve, but this doesn't mean you haven't grown or had other successes. Do not discard or undervalue what you have learned through this process. Yeah, so I feel like that really actually speaks to what I said over here before. I feel that you are so charismatic, so strong, so hardworking, so reliable, and have so much get up and go within yourself that it actually doesn't feel like a big deal that you have achieved everything you have. And maybe you really don't actually realize what a magical superstar you actually are, pile number 3. I don't think that you see yourself the way that people perceive you. I actually feel like listening to this might have come as quite a shock to you, because it does not seem that you are all of those things, but that is who you really are. You are not someone who takes from others. You are not underhanded. You are not sneaky. You have not gained what you have by accident. You have done it through the person that you are and all of your hard work and your efforts and your beautiful nature and spirit, pile number 3. So now we're going to wrap it up with the Nova Witch Tarot to just ask for some more messages on who is the real you for my pile number 3. Who is the real you? Please, Spirit. Okay. Strength, absolutely beautiful, needs no more explanation. You are an incredibly strong person, pile number 3, and the 10 of Swords. So I do think that you maybe have experienced feeling a bit stabbed in the back in the past. I feel that maybe you have lost people along the way that you thought that you could trust, but they didn't really have your best interests at heart, but you have still been able to rise above that, be the bigger person, and still create beauty in your world and wherever you go in the world of others. But you are incredibly strong. You do magic things up for yourself all the time, to the point that I don't think you're aware of just how special you are, my beautiful pile number 3. Okay. 7 of Coins. Yeah, really hardworking, slow and steady, looking at the bigger picture, creating things for yourself now that will grow into... I felt that was 2. And the 10 of Cups. Beautiful. That is perfect. Okay. So, yes, slow and steady wins the race. You are planting seeds for your future. And the 10 of Cups with these 3 hands of the father, the mother, and the baby, or the parents, I should say, because we don't know who these are, and the baby. You are creating beautiful things for yourself, and you are making magic in your own world, and you are hardworking and very ambitious, very dedicated. I feel that you have a really pure heart, my beautiful pile number 3. I feel like the real you is someone who is really lovely to be around, who creates beautiful things in the world, who gives out kindness, who shares themselves with other people, and who is very open, who takes on others' problems without actually making them their own burdens, but is able to listen to somebody, give them good advice, make them feel as though what they've said isn't anything that's so bad, able to listen without judgment and make people feel better about themselves when they walk away. And you have built wonderful things for yourself, both physically, materially, and in the spiritual. You have a lot of beautiful relationships, and you are really special to a lot of people, pile number 3, and you do it all in a way that seems effortless. So to you, it feels as though you have somehow won through being underhanded, when in actual fact you are just really, really good at what you do, and you are really in touch with the divine, and you are really great at manifesting things in, even if you don't call it that or see it that way. I think that you are really driven and really focused and really hardworking, and you are full of a lot of love. I think that you see this world through love. You know that the meaning of life is to love, and that everything comes down to love at the end of the day, and it's that beautiful spirit that you have that has brought you in so much abundance and prosperity and a really beautiful life. But do be aware that other people may be a bit jealous of that, and they may try to undermine you in saying that you are incredibly strong, you are very resilient, you are able to sacrifice, and you are able to magic up beautiful things for yourself. So I don't feel that you have a lot to fear. So pile number 3, I really hope that resonated. If it did, please hit the like button. Comment if you would like to let me know what you thought of the reading. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so, so much if you have. And I might see you in another pile, or I might see you in another reading. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 4. If you chose the 5 of Swords and or this gorgeous little cream cheese blueberry toast, then you are my pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So asking first of all, how are you perceived? With this card, the 5 of Swords, we have conflict, competition, defeat, winning at all costs, betrayal, retreat, fairness, and surrender. So we're going to need to pull some extra cards from we'll use my deck, the Trust Yourself Tarot, to get some more information on how you're perceived. But you're definitely seen as a fighter, pile number 4. Whether that is actually a good thing or a bad thing, we will need to clarify. But you are someone who is seen as extremely determined, very ambitious. We do have winning at all costs, but we also have retreat, fairness, and surrender. So we will need some extra cards to see which one you're perceived as being. Very interesting. Okay, justice. Justice, fairness, truth, cause and effect, law, balance, kindness, integrity, accountability, and rest. So, pile number 4, I think that you are actually seen as someone who is very driven, who will, especially here with justice, who will fight for the rights of others. I think that you are someone who is determined to win at all costs when it comes to standing up for somebody else. I think that when it comes to yourself, you know when it's time to take a step back, when it's time to let something go, when you no longer need to fight for what it is that is on the table. But when it comes to fairness and balance for others, I feel that you will fight to the end. So maybe you even are someone who is an advocate. Maybe you are some sort of care worker. Maybe you are an activist, someone who goes to protests or writes a lot of letters to ministers. I was talking about that with my daughter today, but that's a side note. Ace of Cups, love, new relationships, compassion, intense emotions or relationships, joy and creativity. Yeah, I feel like you are someone who is very publicly active. So maybe you volunteer for organizations that help people. I think that you are perceived as being someone who is very community-minded, someone's very compassionate, someone who has a lot to give to others and does so very freely. Someone who isn't afraid of conflict. I feel like you are able to go up against people and not be fearful of losing, pile number 4. I think that you are perceived as someone who isn't afraid of putting themselves out there for a cause, whether that cause is for you personally or more likely for other people. So I definitely feel that you could be someone who works with others that are underprivileged or disadvantaged in some sort of way, and people can see that about you, that you, okay, we've got, how many more is that? 2, I'll take it, Spirit. You are perceived as someone who fights for justice and for truth and for what is right. 6 of Cups, revisiting the past, nostalgia, innocence, joy, action, effort, focus, reunion, rewards, and ending. Yes, I feel that you are someone who a lot of people look back on nostalgically, who a lot of people remember as being there for them when they needed it. And we also have the 4 of Wands, celebration, joy, harmony, homecoming, ending, rest, fresh starts, next stages, and progress. So yeah, pile number 4, I feel that you are perceived as someone who brings about better outcomes for other people, and even for yourself, someone who is prepared to fight for themselves and stand up for themselves and do so in a way that you have a lot of integrity. People, even if they disagree with you, cannot help but admire and respect you because of the way that you go about things. You fight for what is right, but you do so in a really fair way. And I feel that you really do, you're perceived as being someone who isn't going around creating conflict all the time. You are seen as being very fair, very harmonious, very balanced, but you will definitely stand up for someone if they need it, and you will stand up for yourself if it is required. So I feel that that is how you are perceived, pile number 4. And we're going to get some more messages from the Rider-Waite Tarot on how you are perceived. I think you are seen as being very, very fierce, pile number 4. Someone not to mess with unless you are ready to be taken down, to be exposed, to be shown to be who you really are. Gorgeous, the 10 of Cups. So you are someone who, again, that's another card of completion. We've got this happy family, this beautiful rainbow, all of the cups. I think that you are someone who brings, you are perceived as being someone who brings a lot of joy into other people's lives. Beautiful, the Queen of Pentacles, who is very emotionally balanced, who is very generous in their abundance and willing to share with others and wanting for everybody to have what is fair and equitable. the Nine of Wands. So yeah, you are willing to go into bat for people. You are willing to suffer, to fight, to stand your ground, to mark and hold down your territory. Pile number 4. Someone who really advocates for the causes and the people that they believe in, and who is willing to take a risk, who is willing to go in for a fight if they need to. You don't like to see people being taken advantage of or to be disadvantaged in any way, and you are perceived as someone who is willing to go into bat and someone who champions the underdog as well. Pile number 4, I think you are perceived as someone who has a lot of care for their fellow man. Beautiful. And the 3 of Pentacles, someone who is working with others to make things better, to create better things for people, to better their own circumstances. You are seen as someone who is very kind-hearted, someone who lives on in people's memories. I feel that you have helped a lot of people, pile number 4, over your years. I feel that you have also done well for yourself out of this life. You have created something that is going to bring about a lot of harmony, a lot of happiness, a lot of abundance and prosperity and reasons to celebrate. But you have also done that on a much larger scale for a lot of people, and they remember you. They still think back to that person that helped them out on whatever it was, big or small, and it may have only seemed small to you, but it could have been absolutely everything to them. Pile number 4, but you are seen as an outpouring of love, as someone who just has so much to give and who loves taking up a cause if they know that it is going to be for the wider good and to help other people. So that is how you're perceived, pile number 4. I've got a feeling this is going to be another short pile number 4. I don't know why 4 is always the shortest, but it always is. So guys, if you want your messages fast, I guess pick pile number 4. But how you are perceived is as a fighter. You are scrappy. You are smart. You are able to bring about positive outcomes, and you aren't afraid to get into a scrape to do it. You aren't afraid to put yourself out there. You aren't afraid to look silly or to be uncomfortable. You are just really determined to make sure that everybody has the best that they deserve, and you are willing to fight for it and work for it. So now we're going to ask the Lumina Tarot who you are really. Who is the real you, pile number 4? That's how you're perceived by the world. Who are you when it comes down to it? Who is the real, pile number 4? Okay, well, you might be very modest because these are taking a while to, there we go, to jump. The Magician, beautiful. So who you are really, pile number 4, is someone who is actually able to bring about really amazing outcomes for other people. You have what it takes to conjure up what might seem impossible to some. You are able to bring it about and make it a reality. Death, lovely. Don't need to tell you that this does not mean literal death. It means transformation. So you are someone who transforms situations, pile number 4. You take negative situations and alchemize them into new beginnings and wonderful things. And so I feel just the same as with some of the other piles, how you are perceived is really not too different to who you really are. Maybe you're just not actually aware of it yourself, but you are someone who is able to transform and be reborn again, or who is able to create the rebirth of a situation for somebody else. So you might take someone who was struggling with homelessness and find a way to get them housed, or you may be the person who puts in the suggestion in the comments box at work for something better for the people that you work with. You may take up the plight of someone who is being bullied and turn the situation around for them so that they are no longer an outcast or being treated badly. 8 of Cups, beautiful. So we've had these cards, the Eight of Cups and the Magician, in one of the other readings. It could have been 3, but I don't really remember, so maybe just disregard that. But if any of the other readings sing out to you, definitely go and check them out. But Eight of Cups, you're not afraid to walk away from situations that are no good. You can leave things behind without burning bridges, but you are able to leave the negative behind you and focus on the positive. You are someone who definitely wants to stay focused on the positive, even though you spend a lot of time probably helping people through the negative. I think pile number 4, you are someone who has a lot of hope and sees a lot of good in people and situations and sees the possibility for good too. So I think that you can see a negative situation and you're able to actually see how you could turn that around into something positive. Beautiful. And the 7 of Cups. Yeah, you see opportunities where other people don't. Pile number 4, you see a lot of options where you might come across someone who feels extremely stuck. They come to you and they say to you that they don't know how to find their way out of this situation. And you're someone who can help shine a light on how to walk away from what no longer serves them, what is no longer doing them good, and you lead them on a path to better things and more options and the ability to be able to choose for themselves to go into a better direction, pile number 4. So who you really are is someone who shines a light on pathways for other people. You provide help, you provide care, you provide strength when other people need to lean on you. And now, again, I think that this reading's really short. I'm not too sure, but we're going to the final messages from the Nova Witch Tarot for who my pile number 4 really is. Who are pile number 4 really? But you have a lot of power within you, pile number 4. You are able to bring about really great outcomes for yourself and for others. Okay. We have you, the 5 of Coins. Yeah, so when people are shut out of situations, feeling like their heart's broken, feeling like people have turned their backs on them or that they need to turn their backs on other people, you're the person who is there for them. Pile number 4, you are the person that is there to champion the underdog. You are there for the little guy. You are the person that people come to or are directed to when they need someone to fight for them. So yeah, you could be, like I said, some sort of advocate. Maybe you are some sort of human rights lawyer or work in human rights in some aspect. Maybe you volunteer and give your time to people who need it. But I feel that you are someone who is the champion of the people that need a champion. I just want 1, but you want to be 2. Okay, 3 of Cups. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, you celebrate with your sisters, so to speak. You are joined. I love the way their hair is all plaited together. You see your wins as societal wins, and you see societal wins as your wins, pile number 4. You are all about celebrating with others, creating better outcomes for others and celebrating their wins. So you are someone who is really for other people. You are extremely selfless. You give so much of yourself and you do so really willingly. You're, as I said, other people's wins really feel like your wins, and you work really hard to ensure that you bring good things into the world for others. The Girl of Wands. I'm going to read the book for her. Girl of Wands. Wands. Okay. Girl of Wands. Enthusiasm, experimentation, and creativity. When you enjoy an activity, you may find that you have a lot of energy for it. This energy gives you fuel that allows you to keep learning even when you are tired, and an ability to bounce back when things don't work out, which happens to everyone. Your enthusiasm will give the confidence to do unexpected things too. Experiment with a new technique. Dare to be a little different. The Girl of Wands card celebrates your originality. Yeah, so I really feel like you gain a lot of energy from the fight. When you are helping someone out, when you are trying to push for a better outcome for someone, for equity and equality, for all that gives you energy. I feel pile number 4, you thrive on challenges. You thrive on trying to bring about better outcomes for people. You thrive on making other people's lives better. And that makes you want to celebrate. Their wins are your wins, and that is what you live for. And I feel that you are not afraid to do things differently from others as well. So I think that you are very original in the solutions that you come up with and the ways that you think to fight things. I think this winning at all costs is very much that you won't always go the traditional route in order to bring about better outcomes for people. You are very creative in your solutions and find new ways to do things. Perfect with the Ace of Swords closing us out. So yes, new ideas, new inspiration, new ways to communicate, new ways of thinking about things. So I think that you also help other people to look at things from a new point of view. So it may be even that someone comes to you and you don't necessarily have to champion them or advocate for them or fight for them, but you might show them a different way to look at things, or you might show them a new way of doing things that actually turns the whole situation around for them. You are very innovative, pile number 4. You are very clever. You are very community-minded. You help people to see options where it felt like there were none before, and you are very driven to create better outcomes for other people and to really champion the underdog and be there for people who need you. And I feel that the way that you are is exactly the way that you are perceived. People definitely see this in you and they really admire and respect it. So pile number 4, I have no clue if that was the shortest reading or the longest reading of all of them, but I hope it resonated either way. If it did, please hit the like button. Comment if you'd like to share with me as to what the reading meant for you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much if you have, and I might see you in another pile, or I might see you in another reading.